The most wonderful, beautiful, devastating for Trump trend has been going around on social media in the wake of his unbelievably delusional and desperate posts on Truth Social, questioning the legitimacy of the crowd size, or even if there was a single person at a Harris event, saying, no, see, we found out all her crowds, it's AI. So, of course, people started posting, I guess I'm AI, taking photos or posting videos from their presence at these different rallies with these huge crowds to make fun of Trump. And so one video after another has crushed and destroyed his narrative that Harris is somehow faking all of her rallies. That would be quite the tail wagging the dog. Is that the name of the movie? Sort of situation. Here's Trump on Truth Social as a reminder. Then I'll show you these videos. And then we'll look at Republicans saying, Trump, please stop. We're going to lose if you keep doing stuff like this. Okay. Has anyone noticed that Kamala cheated at the airport, says Trump? There was nobody at the plane, and she AI'd it and showed a massive crowd of so-called followers, but they didn't exist. She was turned in by a maintenance worker at the airport when he noticed the fake crowd picture, but there was nobody there, later confirmed by the reflection of the mirror-like finish on the vice presidential plane. She's a cheater. She had nobody waiting, and the crowd looked like 10,000 people. Quick pause, I didn't notice about this. Last time, before this happened, Trump was saying at rallies, she only will have like 1,000 people there based on these sorts of photos. Now that he's saying the photo's fake, he's saying it looks like 10,000 people. Interesting. Same thing is happening with her fake crowds, he continues, at her speeches. This is the way the Democrats win elections, by cheating. And they're even worse at the ballot box. She should be disqualified because the creation of a fake image is election interference. Anyone who does that will cheat at anything. And we're going to look at some Trump AI photos that have been circulating because of Trump supporters. Well, you'll see. But it's very embarrassing, especially in the wake of this. So then the photo that we looked at, this beautiful photo of people pumped to see Harris and Walz, and them acting like the reflection doesn't line up with that. Well, unfortunately for Trump, one person after another posted their experience at this event. And let's see if we believe all of this is AI. And again, I know some of this is rehashing a past segment we already did, but a lot of these angles I didn't show you, which makes it even more ridiculous. And then adding to that, the Republican response, where they're so embarrassed by Trump's behavior lately that they're asking him on Fox News, for example, can we not attack the crowd stuff? Because that's looking weird. Let's just skip through some of these. Oh. So you get that one. And then we'll look. I know this isn't super appealing for our podcast listeners, but just imagine beautiful crowds. The most beautiful. And this one, I think, doesn't have any audio as of now, but also a combination of different angles, different people taking different photos, saying, I guess this photo came from an AI person, even though it was me. And again, you all get the point on that. But brutal for Trump, and it is leading to mockery like this of him by Democrats.
That'll be the biggest platform she'll have to talk to the American people. Then,
let's skip forward on this one so we can get to this.
in addition to the ones she's already agreed to.
Donald John Trump is a confused human being. He's having a hard time figuring out what day he is. He's so cray-cray right now about her crowds. But so they have agreed to a debate on September.
Right. Cray-cray indeed. I haven't said cray-cray. Let's bring back cray-cray. That's a great phrase. So also in response to this, Trump said election interference for AI photos to be used. Well, we found out this was not a fake crowd fabricated for a photo, but instead a very real manifestation of support for Vice President Harris. But if election interference does come in the form of AI photos, Trump's going to have an issue with some of his own supporters who have done this. Maxwell Frost posted, want to talk about fake AI photos? Remember these gems that were used in ads targeting black voters? And it's Trump in photos with AI black people, which is weird for so many reasons. It's like what I've said about those AI photos of Trump praying, and you know, the sun's coming through the top of the church and he's praying, and then you see that he has too many fingers or something. And I said, it's interesting that you would need to do a fake photo to share a photo of Trump praying because he's never prayed, and you think he's your religious hero somehow. A similar thing with this. It says a lot about you, MAGA, that to find photos of Trump looking happy with black Americans so that you can put it in an ad, you have to create fake ones. Oof. Brutal, brutal stuff. We are getting so close to one of the most important elections in history. If you appreciate the work that's being done in this important political moment from this show and you want to support it in an easy, free way, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button. Thank you so much. Back to the video. And on that, former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, said this on Fox News.
But it's going to be a race, and you've got to make this race not on personalities. Stop questioning the size of her crowds and start questioning her position when it comes to what did she do as Attorney General on crime. Question what did she do when she was supposed to take care of the border as a czar. Question that they brought inflation. And she was the tie-breaking vote when it came to inflation, when it came to IRS agents.
What? You're such a weird guy, Kevin. What does this sentence mean?
Vote when it came to inflation, when it came to IRS agents. This is an interesting.
She was the tie-breaking vote when it came to inflation. Are we going to do inflation? Yes or no? I'm going to break the tie. Yes, let's do inflation. Now, of course, as we've reviewed, if your belief is the chief culprit in the cause of inflation was COVID era relief spending, then you would have to be extra mad at Trump because much more of that happened under him. And then you could be slightly mad at Biden. Or you can have a more nuanced view like we do, which is, while we can always retrospectively understand where things went wrong, where we could have done things better, in a general sense, massive amounts of relief spending was the only way we were going to get out of that crisis. Then, like we saw globally, that unfortunately combined with corporate price gouging, combined with supply chain problems, combined with the energy sector's issues given war starting, etc., there was this aftermath to the pandemic crisis and the recovery out of it. But that's neither here nor there because he doesn't care. Then Peter Navarro, who was in prison and is now filling in for Steve Bannon while Steve Bannon's in prison. Great group of guys, huh? He says this.
Rally 1.0 has always been a fast-moving feast for rally goers and TV networks alike. But Trump doesn't need feast now. He needs votes. And the current rally formula is simply not sufficiently focused on the very stark policy differences.
Did he say not sufficiently? I think I just learned a new vocab word.
These votes, and the current rally formula is simply not sufficiently focused on the very stark policy differences between him and Kamala Harris that will swing voters in key battleground states. Instead, when Trump attacks Harris personally rather than on policy, Harris's support among swing voters rises, particularly among women. It's just a fact of life right now.
So even Navarro, even Peter Navarro understands that Trump's strategy, which is not really a strategy, it's just him losing his mind, is not working. It's not just having a neutral effect. It's having a negative. It's pushing people towards Harris who otherwise would be open to Trump or otherwise weren't sure if they were going to go out to vote. And it makes sense. If I were coming into, as so many people are, the political conversation for the first time in a while, which we have to remember, if you're watching this show, you're probably a more avid political person, keeping up more year round and for multiple years straight as we've been doing. That's so weird to think about. Since the last election, we've been waiting for this one. But a lot of people just about now are getting back re-engaged and figuring out what they're going to do with their vote. And if you were that person, you come into this political arena and you're looking around, you go, okay, Harris is over there. All right, I'm getting pretty good vibes. That's good. Oh, yeah, some good policy proposals, interesting. And then you look over here and Trump's going, all of her crowds are fake. They're AI. My crowds are bigger. She's not actually black. She turned black. It's an easier decision when that's the contrast, as opposed to what could be a more disciplined message from Trump. And Frank Luntz, as I showed you, who often gets things wrong in an irritating way. But if even he's saying this, then something's to be said about it, which is watch this focus group he conducted and how many people who weren't sure they were going to vote for Biden are now saying, yep, Harris.
Pollster and communication strategist Frank Luntz just held a focus group. Watch this.
How many of you were supporting Joe Biden 14 days ago? Raise your hands. None of you. How many of you, if the election were held today, would vote for the Democratic nominee, Kamala Harris?
I would.
Okay, that's all of you.
None of you to all of you. And
It's just one focus group, but also the broader data is showing it. It's a shift that is hard to really articulate properly. But again, I discuss this for the sake of accuracy, energy, and motivation, because we see how possible victory is, not to promote complacency. Okay? We got to work just as hard as if she were behind in the polls. Let me know what you thought of all of that in the comments. And if you want to support the work we do and get extra content daily, you can do so by clicking the join button below.